It's the 24th. No, it's a leaf. That was just a lizard. It's the 24th.
At the end of the day, I had 0 classified materials.
Comey, Secretary Clinton said she never sent or received any classified information over her private email. Was that true?
Our investigation found that there was classified information sent.
So it was not true.
Right, that's what I said.
Okay. Well, I'm looking for a little shorter answer so you and I are not here quite as long. Secretary Clinton said there was nothing marked classified on her emails either sent or received. Was that true?
That's not true. There were a small number of portion markings on, I think, 3 of the documents.
Secretary Clinton said I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified material. Was that true?
There was classified material emailed.
Secretary Clinton said she used just one device. Was that true?
She used multiple devices during the 4 years.
When the census comes around, I think we're like, what, 8 years out or something like that. This is going to give them more congressional seats.
Tim, they say voter ID is racist, yet they wanted you to have a freaking vaccine mandate to buy a hot dog at 7-Eleven. I mean, that's all you need to know. Of course, that's why they need this.
Charlie Crist in Florida says that there should be vax mandates again.
Of course, they love that. They love a vaccine. That's not racist. Having to show an ID and a vaccine card to eat spaghetti at Olive Garden, that's not racist. But having to show an ID to vote in an election, that is bigotry.
I would love it if like...
On The View, I expressed an opinion I had expressed many times before that I am pro-choice because I believe in limited government, not because I'm pro-abortion, not because I'm not pro-life, but because I believe in limited government. I don't believe that's the government's place. I expressed that view, what I thought was very clearly, what I thought was just very authentic to my voice and myself, not something I'm ever going to apologize for. To this day, I will not. And I got fired for it. And then I was faced with a big decision. It was...
Was it more like a backlash type of a fire? Like, I got to do something here. I can't just do it. Or it was like I very much disagree with that. You're gone. It was,
I very much disagree with it, but it was, you are getting too big for the network. You are surpassing the network's owner and creator. And what are we going to do to knock you down a peg? Oh, we know. We'll turn conservatives against you. Because it's not working for the world to be against you. But if we can turn the conservative community against you,
you have no place to go.
Then yes. So that's what I very much think motivated the firing.
Imagine North Korea in 20 years when everybody has to wear a biometric bracelet which constantly monitors your blood pressure, your heart rate, your brain activity, 24 hours a day. You listen to a speech on the radio by the great leader, and they know what you actually feel. You can clap your hands and smile, but if you're angry, they know you'll be in the gulag tomorrow morning.
In a recent now-deleted tweet, a British politician said that the word woman comes from womb man. In concept, etymologically, that's not dumb. Lots of words come about like that. We got boards we keep our cups on, so it's a cupboard, cupboard. But womb man leading to woman? It's just not true. It comes from with man, which a lot of people take to mean the wife of a man, making it only slightly less degrading than defining women by their wombs. But that's not true either. Because in Old English, as the word woman was evolving, the word with and the word man did not mean what we mean by wife and man today. 1200 years ago, with simply meant a female person. So in an Anglo-Saxon translation of the Bible, when Jesus talks to his mother, he calls her with. Obviously not wife, woman. Side note, the male equivalent to whiff was were, which lives on in werewolf. And then for uncertain reasons, whiff was added to man to mean a female person, but man did not mean a male person back then. It meant any person. This sense lives on in words like manslaughter. So we ended up with whiff man. And what kind of person is a whiff man? A woman person. A female human being. There you have it. Come along if you feel like. Let me know what we should talk about next.
Guys, we just had this massive flood through here. I want to show you something. Boss of the swamp, JC shows this up north and where he lives at. Look at the soap suds forming on this tree right here. You tell me, there's soap suds all around this tree here. You tell me this is normal rainfall. Rain don't make soap suds. I mean, this tree has soap suds. Look at them forming.
Page 54, stem treatment. This method involves killing larger trees for burning by injecting herbicide into the stem or by girdling the stem. Additional treatment of understory vegetation is needed to prepare a forest for burning. The purpose of stem treatment is to kill both the tree trunk and crown and allow adequate time for drying ahead of burning. This method will add fuel on the ground eventually after tree chops have broken off or entire trees have fallen. This requires 1 or 2 years in drier climates. For a decade and a half, geoengineeringwatch.org has warned that the climate engineering atmospheric spraying was setting the stage for unprecedented wildfires. In dense forests, the primary problem is that aerial sprays are trapped in the upper tree crowns and never reach the ground. Spray effectiveness remains about the same over a range of low canopy densities, but drops sharply under higher canopy densities. Page 56. Desiccants suitable for aerial application are of two kinds. Systemic herbicides, which enter the plant, move through the vascular system and kill tissue away from the point of contact. 2. Contact herbicides, which kill only the living tissue that is directly contacted. Leaves remain attached for months on evergreen vegetation under climates with long dry seasons. Sound familiar? After specific fall rains, geoengineeringwatch.org has monitored dead, dry leaves hanging on deciduous trees, often for months. This is not nature. It is exactly what this forest fires as a weapon report outlines.
Yeah, when it came down, it took this spruce down with it. Okay, I was sad to see that fall down, but you can see inside here, it was pretty punky. Okay, pretty punky, so that was going to go bare and eventually fall down anyway. And that's how all the spruce are now in the forest out here. All the spruce and pine are dying.
Here's some rhododendrons. Oh, wait. Look at that. All those dead leaves down there. Not normal. Another one. More. Look at all the dead leaves. Okay.
Look at the soap suds forming on this tree right here. You tell me, there's soap suds all around this tree here. You tell me this is normal rainfall. Rain don't make soap suds. I mean, this tree has soap suds. Look at them forming.
Tesla himself said, if you wish to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Here's 3 ways to instantly raise your vibration to feel better overall and align with your higher self. Number 1, get in the sun. But more importantly, make sure your skin is touching the earth once a day at least. Most people are boxed up in their house all day. Get the fuck outside, come on. Because in case you didn't know, the earth literally has an electromagnetic frequency that charges our bodies. It's called the Schumann resonance. Practice observing your thoughts instead of reacting to them. When we begin to take the role of the observer, we don't attach ourselves to our thought, we simply observe them. This is essentially a neutral state of mind. And according to Dr. David Hawkins, if you can simply be in a neutral state of mind, you will overcome all these lower vibrational emotions. And finally, reduce the amount you consume, and I don't mean just food. Social media and the music you listen to consumes you. And a lot of people don't even know that the music they listen to programs them.
So have you read Ray Dalio's book, Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order?
No.
Oh, it's going to fuck up your sleep. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
But he outlines, he goes back, I think to like 500 BCE, but he really focuses on the last 500 years. And he shows you this is all a loop and that there are only so many personality types and you can just watch culture loop and loop and loop and loop. And cultures build up and then they crash down. The next one builds up and then it crashes down. He's like, it's freakishly predictable. It goes in 6 steps, the cycle does. And there is not yet a society in the last 2,500 years that has avoided this cycle that lasts about 100 to 150 years. So the reality is that I'm like, I don't think we get out of this cultural momentum quickly. I think that the phrase tough men make good times make weak men make hard times make strong men, and you loop and loop and loop and loop. And we have been in good times for a long time. And so I think I'm just going to keep doing myself damage here. I think we've gotten soft. And I think because of that, we are headed for hard times. And I think the hard times will take care of any of the values and belief systems that aren't useful in the acquisition of skills.
We ain't the same on the game. Hey, Donald Trump is your president, and if you like it or not, keep the energy you had with Barack, cause you know the Trump train don't stop.
I'm doing a Jeffrey Robertson here. In your opinion, where would India be today if the British did not step into India?
Oh, there's a lot there. It'll take the rest of the program to answer. I'll try and touch on it. But this is almost like the American saying to the widow of the American president, apart from that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you enjoy the play? I mean, really, the British came to one of the richest countries in the world, accounting for 27% of global GDP in 1700, 23% in 1800, and over 200 years of exploitation, depredation, loot and destruction, reduced it to a poster child for third world poverty, with just over 3% of global GDP, 90% of the population living below the poverty line when the British left in 1947, a literacy rate, you speak of education, a literacy rate below 17%, and a life expectancy of 27. The growth rate of British India from 1900 to 1947 was 0.001%. That's what they were doing while draining the country of taxes and resources. Education, my gosh, the British, the last thing they wanted to do was invest in educating Indians. Will Durant, the American historian, traveling in India as late as 1930, pointed out that the entire expenditure of the British on education in India, from the nursery level to the highest universities, was less than half the high school budget of the state of New York. All the Indian institutes of technology, the engineering achievements you're talking about, were established after independence by the government of India. There is simply no comparison between the accomplishments of India rising from the ashes the British left us in and what was done in 200 years. I've given many figures.
Just take one example, the textile industry, because India was a huge exporter of
For 2,000 years, it was the world's leading exporter.
What happened?
In fact, in the Roman Empire, there are debates recorded by Pliny the Elder of Roman senators complaining about the amount of the Roman Empire's gold that was being sent off to India because of the tastes of Roman women for Indian muslins, linens, and cottons.
Was it just modernism, the Industrial Revolution that destroyed it, or was it something else?
No, that's the excuse that apologists like to make, that, oh, it's not our fault, you just missed the bus for the Industrial Revolution. Well, we missed the bus because you threw us under its wheels, is what I tell the Brits. I mean, the fact is, in the name of free trade, the British came in and destroyed the free trade that had made India a leading exporter of textiles. The British soldiers smashed the looms so people couldn't practice their craft. They imposed punitive duties and taxes on the export of Indian textiles while lifting duties on the import of British cloth. And they achieved a captive market at the point of a gun. This is not exactly free trade, as you can imagine. Cities like Murshidabad and Dhaka in the subcontinent were depopulated. In one notorious incident, weavers had their thumbs cut off, so when the looms were repaired, they couldn't weave again. Textiles were systematically destroyed as an industry by the British. And that's only one example of many.
Well, I'm going to quickly go back to, and I'm just wondering, have young Brits come to terms with their colonial past?
No, we haven't at all. Young Brits of every class have no idea about our colonial past, and that is being deliberately done. We are deliberately denied or kept away from education about the graphic facts of what the British did around the world, including in this country, to the people of this country. The crimes of the British and the crimes that we committed and that were done in our names over 400 years of pillaging conquest is something that we don't like to think about, and yet it is everywhere in modern British history. When people talk about Brexit, it's stunning to me that if you ask British people who voted for Brexit what their major fear is, their fear is that people will come to our country and take our things.
Mm.
And
that's exactly.
Like, you know, why? I just can't. It doesn't compute, but we don't know this history. You know, I took history in British schools up to the age of 18, and I got a pretty good grade. And most
You never learned a line of colonial history, did you?
Well, almost everything that you have just said, I learned from your book.
I'm going to throw quickly back to Shashi because you know, one of the great heroes of the Second World War, in fact of the 20th century, Winston Churchill, you've basically accused him in your book of complicity in a famine that killed 4 million Bengalis.
Rightly so.
4.3. I mean, Churchill personally took the decisions that actually not only plunged Bengal into starvation, but had the British actually purchase grain that the Bengalis could barely afford to buy in order to ship it to Europe, not to aid the war effort, as his defenders claim, but to boost the buffer stocks in the event of a future possible invasion of Greece and Yugoslavia. People started dying, and Churchill said, well, it's all their fault anyway for breeding like rabbits. He said, I hate the Indians, they're a beastly people with a beastly religion. Australian ships were docking in Calcutta port and were ordered by Churchill and his odious paymaster, General Lord Chauvel, not to disembark their wheat, but to sail on to Europe, where their wheat might be used in some future reserve stock. On top of that, when conscience-stricken British officials...
Yes, I was going to say, did Churchill know people would die?
Yes, conscience-stricken British officials are constantly sending memoranda to the Prime Minister personally, because it was his decision, saying that people were dying literally on the streets, and all Churchill could bring himself to do was write peevishly on the side of the file, why hasn't Gandhi died yet?
Wow.
And this is the man the British want us to hail as an apostle of freedom and democracy, when he has as much blood on his hands as some of the worst genocidal dictators of the 20th century.
Well, thank you.